Meghan Markle's powerful CBS interview, a deep dive into the Parents Network and her healing journey. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Crown Report. Today, we're diving into one of the most meaningful and heartfelt interviews Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have given in recent years. On August 4th, 2024, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex sat down with veteran CBS Sunday Morning anchor Jane Pauley for their first joint television interview since their historic conversation with Oprah Winfrey back in 2021. But this wasn't just another royal interview. This was a conversation about something deeply personal, profoundly important, and potentially life-saving for families around the world. So let's break down everything that happened, what was said, and why this interview matters so much. Before we get into the details of what Meghan and Harry discussed, it's important to understand why this interview happened in the first place. The couple wasn't sitting down with CBS to discuss palace drama, family feuds, or royal protocol. Instead, they were there to launch something incredibly significant, the Parents Network. This is a new initiative through their Archewell Foundation, and its mission is both simple and crucial. The Parents Network provides support to families whose children have been harmed by social media. And when we say harmed, we're talking about serious, life-altering consequences. Some of the families involved in this program have tragically lost children to suicide that was directly or indirectly caused by online bullying, cyberbullying, or other harmful content they encountered on social media platforms. Program started as a 2-year pilot initiative, during which Harry and Meghan worked closely with affected families to understand their pain, their needs, and how best to support them. After those 2 years of careful development and testing, the Parents Network officially launched in the United States, United Kingdom, and Canada, offering free resources and support networks to parents navigating this devastating reality. According to James Holt, the executive director of the Archewell Foundation, the team spent those 2 years engaging deeply with parents and young people to truly understand the repercussions of social media on mental, physical, and emotional well-being.
You had an experience that connects you to these families, and I see you touch your husband's hand in just the way I knew that you would be looking after each other if I went places. But the connection that you have with people is they know you had suffered too, personally. Contemplating killing yourself is what suicidal ideation was. And I'm dancing around this because I can see you're uncomfortable with my even going there. Do you?
I understand why you are, though. I wasn't expecting it, but I understand why you are, because there is a through line, I think. And when you've been through any level of pain or trauma, I believe part of our healing journey, certainly part of mine, is being able to be really open about it. And I haven't really scraped the surface on my experience, but I do think that I would never want someone else to feel that way. And I would never want someone else to be making those sort of plans, and I would never want someone else to not be believed. So if me voicing what I have overcome will save someone, or asks or encourage someone in their life to really genuinely check in on them and not assume that the appearance is good so everything's okay, then that's worth it. I'll take a hit for that.
This wasn't a publicity stunt or a celebrity vanity project. This was genuine, sustained effort to create something meaningful. During the interview, Prince Harry delivered some of the most sobering and urgent messages we've heard from him. He spoke about how the digital age has fundamentally changed what it means to keep children safe, and his words should make every parent sit up and pay attention. Harry explained that in what he called the olden days, if your children were under your roof, you knew what they were up to. They were safe within the physical boundaries of your home. But now your child can be in the very next room, on a tablet or phone, and they can be going down dangerous rabbit holes online. And here's the truly terrifying part that Harry emphasized. Within just 24 hours, a child can go from seemingly fine to taking their own life. Let that sink in for a moment. 24 hours. Harry stressed that this isn't something that only happens to certain families or in certain communities. This can happen to absolutely anybody. No family is immune. No amount of wealth, education, or privilege creates a protective barrier against the dangers lurking in the online world. The fact that it can happen to anyone is precisely what makes this issue so urgent and why the Parents Network is so necessary. The Duke of Sussex also made a powerful point about how modern parents essentially need to become first responders. He said that at this stage, almost every parent needs to have that mindset and skill set. But here's the catch that makes this so challenging. Even the best first responders in the world wouldn't necessarily be able to recognize the signs of possible suicide in a young person. That's the terrifying piece of this puzzle that Harry wanted everyone to understand. When you think about it, traditional first responders, paramedics, EMTs, emergency room doctors, they receive extensive training. They study for years. They practice scenarios. They learn to recognize signs and symptoms. But parents? Most of us are flying blind when it comes to understanding the warning signs of severe mental health crises in our children, especially when those crises are triggered by online experiences we might not even know are happening. Now, while Harry's message was powerful and urgent, it was Meghan's portion of the interview that truly struck an emotional chord with viewers around the world. And it's here that we need to talk about something sensitive but incredibly important: Meghan's own experience with suicidal thoughts. If you've been following the Sussex's story, you'll remember that during their 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey, Meghan revealed something shocking and heartbreaking. She disclosed that during her time as a working member of the royal family, while she was pregnant with their first child Archie, she had reached such a low point that she experienced suicidal ideation. She told Oprah that she just didn't want to be alive anymore. In that Oprah interview, Meghan explained how ashamed she felt admitting these thoughts to Harry, especially knowing how much loss he had already suffered with the death of his mother, Princess Diana, when he was just a boy. She revealed that when she reached out to the institution, to the royal family's human resources, seeking help and permission to get mental health treatment, she was told no. She wasn't allowed to seek help because it wouldn't be good for the institution. Now, 3 years later, in this CBS Sunday Morning interview, Jane Pauley brought up this painful chapter of Meghan's life. And Meghan's response was both honest and, frankly, quite brave. Meghan told Pauley that she wasn't necessarily expecting the question about her suicidal thoughts during this particular interview, but she understood why it was being asked. The connection is clear. Here's someone who has personally experienced the darkest depths of mental health struggles. And now she's dedicating herself to helping families whose children are going through similar or even worse situations. Meghan explained her philosophy on healing and openness. She said, "When you've been through any level of pain or trauma, I believe part of our healing journey, certainly part of mine, is being able to be really open about it." But then she said something that many people found particularly striking. Meghan admitted, "I haven't really scraped the surface on my experience." Think about that for a moment. Despite the bombshell Oprah interview that made headlines around the world, despite all the conversations and commentary that followed, Meghan is saying she still hasn't fully shared the depths of what she went through. There's more to her story, more pain, more struggle that the public hasn't heard about yet. So why talk about it at all, even partially? Meghan explained her reasoning with remarkable clarity. She said she would never want someone else to feel the way she felt. She would never want someone else to be making the kinds of plans she was making, plans to end their own life. And crucially, she would never want someone else to not be believed when they reach out for help. This last point is particularly significant. When Meghan told the royal institution she needed mental health support, she wasn't believed or taken seriously. The institution's response essentially invalidated her pain and her cry for help. She doesn't want that to happen to anyone else. Meghan concluded this part of the conversation by saying, "So if me voicing what I have overcome will save someone, or encourage someone in their life to really genuinely check in on them and not assume that the appearance is good, so everything's okay, then that's worth it. I'll take a hit for that. I'll take a hit for that." Those words are important. Meghan knows that by speaking openly about her mental health struggles, she's opening herself up to criticism, mockery, skepticism, and judgment. She knows the tabloids will have field days. She knows the trolls will come out in force. But she's willing to endure all of that if it means even one person gets the help they need or one person checking in on a loved one prevents a tragedy. So we've talked about why the Parents Network exists and the personal connections Harry and Meghan have to this issue. But what does the program actually do? How does it help these devastated families? The Parents Network operates as an online community and support system specifically designed for parents whose children have suffered from the harmful effects of social media. This includes, tragically, parents who have lost children to suicide.
Oh, Angela, she was so mad. She was fuming. And you've actually heard that she threw a bit of a strop?
Yeah, she did. After the interview was over, she was apparently screaming to the producers, very, very annoyed at what they'd asked her. And I imagine that is that sort of question. She wasn't there for that because she said, I didn't expect this. And you mustn't do that with Meghan because she's in control. But you could see she couldn't contain her anger, her fury, just the same as in and out of the interview, she couldn't stand Harry speaking. You know, she would look at him with such harsh eyes and such a terrible expression on her face because she didn't want him to talk. I imagine it was very difficult, and Harry. I mean, I do feel sorry with him. Actually, when I see that face, he looks so unhappy. The face has absolutely got no expression on, and he just looks at a complete loss. He is really lost at the moment, I think. And although I've been very cross with him and seen such a change in him,
That was directly or indirectly caused by online experiences. During the CBS interview, several parents who participated in the 2-year pilot program were featured. These brave mothers and fathers opened up about their devastating losses and how the Parents Network helped them in their healing process. They spoke about feeling isolated.
She was apparently screaming to the producers, very, very annoyed at what they'd asked her. And I imagine that is that sort of question. She wasn't there for that because she said, I didn't expect this. And you mustn't do that with Meghan because she's in control. But you could see she couldn't contain her anger, her fury, just the same as in and out of the interview, she couldn't stand Harry speaking. You know, she would look at him with such harsh eyes and such a terrible expression on her face because she didn't want him to talk.
And alone in their grief until they found this community of people who truly understood what they were going through. The program provides several key services. First, it offers peer support, connecting parents who have been through similar traumas so they can support each other. There's something powerful about talking to someone who has walked the same painful path you're walking. These parents don't have to explain or justify their feelings.
Angela Levin, I have been looking forward to speaking to you about this extraordinary interview with miserable Meghan and unhappy Harry for the past few days. It certainly wasn't a good 43rd birthday for the Duchess of Sussex, was it? Because for their first sit down together since Oprah Winfrey, which is actually a really big deal, back on CBS, this time with another very experienced TV professional from America, Jane Pauley. Despite all of that, it was a real car crash.
I think that he's in a very, very bad way.
Yeah, he felt so distant from her, Angela. He was almost backing away. And it was interesting to me that in that moment, Jane Pauley immediately noticed that Meghan put her hand on Harry's knee, but he didn't come in to provide her any sort of support. He basically let her take it.
Yes. Well, usually he would certainly put a hand on that, or she would take his arm. But I think it wasn't that. I think that it was a case that if she had her hand on his leg, she could pinch it if he said anything without anybody really seeing it, and that would shut him up. I think it was much more, I'm in control. You do anything or say anything, I do what you
see.
And you will get it.
That actually makes a lot of sense. So it's almost like, I've got this, Harry. Don't say anything. This is my time to answer this question.
Yes. I feel that they're at a stage now where they can't stand each other. I don't know how long these things last. You can have those bouts. If you can't stand your partner, then you love them the next day. But, you know, this is a sort of thing that it wasn't working for them as a partnership. And they were really angry with each other. And I think that they can't really separate because Meghan wouldn't get nearly as many jobs as she would like, or respect she would like, if Harry wasn't there, because although he's not a working royal, he's